Hello and welcome back to my channel.
Wow, that audio is rough. This was actually one of my first YouTube videos I ever made. I was using a work headset. I wanted to recreate this video with the same clips but new audio and my current opinions on the pens that I recommend. Partly to update a video let down by audio quality, and partly to see how my views have changed over the last 18 months or so since I published this video. I will leave the original video up here if you would like to view it. I did have an honourable mention for the Jinhao X450, and now it's a dishonourable mention. Not only because it usually doesn't write after a few days without use, a little shake and it burps ink all over the page. I just don't care for these low quality Chinese pens that are often replicas. A hard stance, but I've got into too many arguments with people over these pens. If you're after your first pen, you can do a lot better. Now to my first actual recommendation, the Lamy All-Star or Safari or Vista. My views have slightly changed, I guess. I don't like the Safaris as much. With their plastic body, they are very light and feel a little unimpressive. Especially the matte versions, like my Mango one. The Vista demonstrator, however, is great, and I recommend it. Same with the Aluminium All-Star, which feels a lot more solid in the hand. All these Lamys allow for the nibs to be swapped, so you can change the writing feel with the same pen. They all have the controversial triangle grip section, but this can also help you train your hand into writing with the fountain pen. The pens can be used with cartridges or a proprietary converter, and come in a large range of colours. Overall, I still like these pens a lot, and they're also great for travel. Next we have the TWSBI Eco or Eco-T, a great alternative to the Lamy Safari. This pen utilises a piston filler mechanism, which allows a huge ink capacity. This does, however, mean you can only use bottled ink with this pen. Like the Lamy Vista, this is a demonstrator pen, which allows you to put your ink colour on display, and also lets you to see how much ink you have left. Being a piston filler, you may find cleaning the pen a bit harder, but it hasn't been an issue for me. The nibs are smooth and wet, and it's roughly the same size as the Lamys. The cap twists on, but remember to not over tighten it, as I've seen a few Ecos crack through the plastic. Overall, I still highly recommend this pen, and I own multiple now. It comes in a large range of colours also, so you can pair it with your ink choice. Next is the Pilot Metropolitan, or MR1. Probably the most classic looking fountain pen on this list. I use this pen at work as it can easily take cartridges or be filled with the Con 40 converter. The all metal body makes it look more expensive than it is, and I love the weight of the pen. Since working from home, I must admit I don't use it as much, but it is generally a great pen to have in your collection. My main complaint is that the nibs are too fine. I have a medium and it feels like an extra fine compared to some of the other pens, especially the Lamy nibs. It comes in a few different colours and different designs just above the grip, but I prefer the all black that I have here. Next is the Kaweco Sport, what I would class as a pocket pen with its small form factor. I was a little harsh to the Sport the first time around, and I've warmed up to it over the last 2 years. It's got a great design and comes in so many different colours and special editions. I still think the metal version is a lot nicer, but it is also double the price. The cap unscrews and then it is required to be posted so you can use it. It can take cartridges or a tiny plunger converter, which is handy although it doesn't hold much ink. You also don't always get the metal clip with the pen, which is annoying. I think it is the size that doesn't work for me. The grip section is small and narrow for my hands, but not enough to be uncomfortable or unusable. I'd still recommend the pen, and it is often a pen people have many variations of. My advice would probably be to get a full-size pen first, and then get this as your second fountain pen perhaps. Next is a mostly unknown pen, outside of Asia at least, with the Pilot 78G+, which is generally marketed as a student pen. It was less than the Lamy, TWSBI and the Kaweco. Even better was that I was pleasantly surprised by how the pen writes and feels. Pilot really has good quality control, even with their cheap pens. It even came with a Con 40 converter, which you rarely see at this price point. It does only come in 3 colours, but it offers great value for money. The 2 pilots on this list are actually the ones I'd recommend to people who don't know if they will like fountain pens, but maybe they just want to try them out without being overwhelmed. I've since upgraded from using the 78G, but it was a daily carry for over a year. Last, we have somewhat of a bonus round with some alternative buys that you can find on eBay, and worth mentioning as you won't see these pens in many YouTube videos. These are vintage pens that are new old stock. First is the Pilot 3A, which comes in lovely 1970s colours and design. The nib is unlike most pens you will find in store. The pens do, however, only use the attached squeeze converter, so bottled ink is your only option. You also have to remember that the plastic squeeze converters have also been in there for years. I haven't had any issues with mine, but it is worth considering. They write wonderfully, and I often get compliments on the pen. The same goes for this lovely Pilot Elite, which I prefer over the 3A. This pen was popular enough for it to be re-released as the new E95S with a gold nib, while this one just has a steel nib. While the new E95S will set you back $200 Australian, this vintage Elite cost me a little over $30. This is one of my favourite looking pens, and while it has a small squeeze converter, I love writing letters with it. If there are any more on eBay, I'd suggest you go and snatch one up. And that completes the redone recommendations. I have a new beginner pens video with a bunch of different pens from the likes of Schaefer, Waterman and Noodlers, which hopefully won't be too far away. As always, thanks for watching and goodbye.